Some places in Skyrim are loud. Their stories spill out the moment you step across the threshold. Bandits yell, necromancers chant, dragons scream from mountaintops and leave scorch trails behind them. And then there are quieter places. Places that aren't hidden but still feel unseen. Places where things don't quite add up. Where the land remembers something that the people may have forgotten. Where history hums under your feet but no one speaks about it. Roekstead is one of those places. You'll find it to the west of Whiterun, past the river and the ridges, nestled in the Golden Plains. It has an inn, a few farms and some familiar names. There are even a couple of quests, if you happen to meet the right people. It looks just like another dot on the map. But stay a little longer, listen a little closer, because the longer you stand in Roekstead, the stranger it starts to feel, and the more you'll wonder what's really going on here. Roekstead appears ordinary at first glance. A cluster of homes, a small inn, a few NPCs tending to crops and livestock. It's the kind of place you might ride past on your way to Markarth, barely noticing it exists at all. And Skyrim doesn't mind if you ignore it. The game offers no formal reason to stop here, only for a quest. No guild sends you here, the town is content to remain on the fringe, both geographically and narratively. But that absence, the narrative silence, is exactly why people have been talking about Roekstead for years. Because despite its unassuming nature, the deeper you dig, the stranger it becomes. The town takes its name from Roek, a former Imperial soldier who says he purchased the land and turned it from barren waste into fertile fields. According to the UESP, Roek fought in the Great War, was injured and healed by his friend. After the war, the two of them settled here. Simple enough, right? Except Roekstead is ancient. It's mentioned in the bard's song Ragnar the Red, a traditional ballad that predates the events of Skyrim by generations. Even more strangely, the town is referenced in two much older texts as well, with one of them being the Atlas of Dragons. The former refers to Roeksteading in the first era thousands of years ago, and yet Roek is alive, healthy, and just here. The optimistic view is that this is a coincidence, that Roek is a recycled name, which it could be. But this is Skyrim, where names rarely repeat without reason, and timelines usually hold together with mythic precision. That dissonance between Roek the man and Roekstead, the ancient location, is unsettling. Roekstead isn't just old, it's miraculously productive. Dialogue from various NPCs confirm that the land around Roekstead used to be barren. The holdings of Jarl Geirlund describe it as nothing impressive. Yet somehow, it's the most fertile farmland in all of the Whiterun hold. One NPC even jokes that Roekstead could start exploiting its soil. Farming is also rarely mentioned outside of Roekstead, and nowhere else in the game boasts this kind of prosperity. How did a town with no known blessings, no special location, no divine favour, and no apparent irrigation suddenly bloom into the headbasket of the region? Magic, maybe? Alchemy? Or perhaps a pact? When you step into the homes of Roekstead's residents, you'll find some strange things. Soul gems are placed on shelves and tables, which are odd trinkets for simple farmers, right? In Roek's manor, a copy of the book Spirit of the Daedra sits unguarded. There are no obvious mages living in the town, no alchemists and no temples. So why the magic paraphernalia? There's also an odd conversation with Roek's daughter, in some playthroughs depending on schedules. She speaks to a man who speaks quietly of magic. He warns the girl not to tell the others. It's a moment that can easily be missed, but when paired with the Daedric book, the soul gems, and the uncanny prosperity of the town, it begins to look a lot less like coincidence and more like remnants of something kept hidden. If you've ever played Skyrim even once, you remember Lockyer. He's the thief from Roekstead, introduced in the game's opening cart ride. However, Lockyer dies before the prologue ends. But here's the strange part. No one in Roekstead remembers him, even though he hails from there. No NPCs mention him, there's no house that once belonged to him, not even a passing reference. Even more tantalizing, a cutscene from Bethesda's Creation Kit demo once showed the developers editing a location called Lockyer's Tomb. It was fully modelled, fully fleshed out, but never used. Whether it was scrapped, unfinished, or meant for later DLC, the message is clear. There was meant to be more to this story. There's a theory first floated on Reddit and later picked up by YouTubers like Fizzy, that Roekstead is a Daedric cult in disguise. The theory does fit too well. The soul gems, the Daedra text, the suspiciously fertile land, the secrecy of magic training, the disappearance of Lockyer, the oddly elderly residents who never age. What if the town made a deal with the Daedric Prince of Pestilence and Order, or Mephala, who thrives on secrets and manipulation? The people of Roekstead may have battered their souls, or their memories, and if that's true, it would explain why no one remembers Lockyer, why the town folk live in ignorance, and a deal was made, and the silence was part of the price. Roekstead doesn't shout. It doesn't demand your attention like Solitude's courtyards or Windhelm's gates. It speaks in whispers, through the rustle of the wheat fields, the creak of wooden carts, and the low murmur of farmers tending their land. The inn is calm, the streets are empty, even the people speak as if they're trying not to wake something ancient beneath the soil. There are quests here, if you know where to look. A young man dreams of becoming a hero. A few deliveries pass through the village, but none of it breaks the spell. The tone stays the same, measured, restraint, almost reverent, as though the entire town is holding its breath. What makes Roekstead feel mysterious isn't what happens here, it's what doesn't as well. No one talks about the Dragon Mound just beyond the ridge, no one mentions Haygraven Shrine nearby. No one seems disturbed by the soul gems in their neighbours' homes. They just till the land, eat their meals, and sleep in peace. And that silence, the choice to carry on without question, is louder than any shout from a dragon. Roekstead is not empty. It's quiet. And in Skyrim, quiet can mean danger, or a secret waiting to be kept. There's a certain kind of place in Skyrim, a place that was built, populated, maybe even scripted, and then seemingly forgotten. Cut content, internal decisions, lore shifts. Whatever the cause, the result is the same. A place that feels almost finished, but not quite. Roekstead is that place. And that's why people are still talking about it over a decade later. Roekstead is easy to miss. It doesn't call attention to itself, it doesn't throw a dragon in your path. It doesn't offer glory or gold, but it lingers. It sits in the back of your mind like an itch. A question without an answer. A town that should mean nothing and yet means everything. In a game that explains so much, Roekstead stands apart. It keeps its secrets. It buries its truth in old books, strange artifacts, and quiet homes filled with unnatural life. Because sometimes the most mysterious places in Skyrim aren't the ones full of monsters. They're the ones that just sit there, smiling, pretending that they're normal, when everything around them says otherwise.